Welcome, my friends. Again, we're sitting here on a Monday afternoon. A beautiful day out there, but it's right now it's 5 o'clock, so I'll bet you I just came in about an hour and a half ago, and it was pretty warm. I'll bet you it's 80 degrees today without any problem at all. Maybe, I'm not going to guarantee it, but maybe we're going to get in some good weather lately. And later on, when we look at the weather, I'm praying that the sun is going to be out on Wednesday, because it only rains on Wednesday, because that's when we golf, the old guys. As you can you can't see yet because the picture is not wide enough, because the seat next to me is empty. And we're not telling anybody where he is. He dropped off an itinerary, but I'm not allowed to say what it is. But I'm under the suspicion, this is just a suspicion now, that he's still out there getting signatures on the repeal of casino law. Because that's the only thing that will keep him out of this seat. He's just adamant about repealing that law, because the whole thing has been screwed up since the beginning. And it's probably more screwed up now, but we'll see what happens. So he didn't come, so I'll talk to him and see what happens next week. All right. Yesterday was a beautiful day. It was 72 degrees. I had an opportunity only once in a while that grandfathers get to go to see a show that their granddaughter might be in, and I did that yesterday up to Hollis, New Hampshire. And there's a young woman from Woburn, her name is McGonigal. I'm sure, I don't know anything about her at all, but she runs an Irish step dancing school. And it's in, she has classes in Nashua and Woburn. So we all went off to Hollis, New Hampshire. I forget the name of the place, but anyway, they put on a little demonstration. It wasn't a recital where they get into the real heavy-duty stuff. This was just a nice little Sunday afternoon showing of what the kids can do. You know, the little ones, all the way up to 16 or 17 years old. And a couple of the older ones are going to be in Montreal trying out for a national championship as Irish step dancing. So my granddaughter, Ms. Scaramazino, from over there on Revere Road, was one of the people doing the dance. My wife and I went up, had something to eat, and saw the show. Pretty entertaining. Kids work hard. So congratulations to Miss Scaramazino. Okay, let's get to it. 304 graduated yesterday from Woburn Memorial High School. I think my oldest kid graduated in like 1970 something. 800 children graduated that year. They go by alphabetical order. And I think it was so hot that by the time they got to the W's at the end, I think I was the only one, and me and maybe 10 other people were sitting in the stands. Everybody went home. It was so hot. Every time they read your name, people were gone. But 304, that's a manageable amount of people, I guess. Must have lasted a couple of hours anyway. The valedictorian, Doug Salvati. Congratulations, Doug. And the salutatorian, Andrew Lindquist. Congratulations, Andrew. I don't know either one of those two young men, but I'm sure they're pretty well taken care of as far as the school is concerned. Okay, Mayflower Road. Danvers couple facing charges on a housebreak. I read that. In fact, I heard it on the news and I said, wait a minute, this is pretty weird. You know, there was something wrong with that whole story. It's like the gang that can't shoot straight. They went over there, but you know, these people, I don't know if it's drug involvement or what, to get these people to do this crazy stuff, because here's a couple of young people from Danvers that get up in the morning and say, now what can we do today? Well, let's drive over to Woburn. And maybe we'll go down one of them little side streets in Woburn and see if there's any cars in the yard. If there's no car, we'll break in and steal a clicker from their TV. I don't know what they were in there stealing in the middle of the daytime. But anyway, the neighbors are, and I think the neighbors in every neighborhood in the city are pretty aware of what's happening in their own little area, 4 or 5 houses right around it. I think people know what's going on. You could call them nosy or whatever it is, but they pretty much got their one eye out the door and make sure everything is all right and safe. So now the guy runs down the street. This is all according to what I read in the paper. Guy runs down the street and they're after him. And of course, there's a car there, so he jumps in the car, off she goes. And later they found out it was his wife driving the car. So after they must have went through the 4 corners there, going towards Lexington on Lexington Street, got all the way over to Lexington. Of course, we're all chasing them, and stopped the car and find out that there's 5 little kids in the car, from 7 to like 2 or something. You say, oh, good grief. And everybody was pretty upset about that. But anyway, they got arrested and got caught, and I don't know what will ever happen to them. But I think it has something to do with I forget what they call these agencies, Families and Children or whatever, Dwyer, whatever the name of that those agencies are you're having all the trouble with. Now, when she got arrested and when she got bailed and left, they let the kids go home with her. So what do you think about that? I'm not so sure. That was a good idea. But anyway, I think the state will probably have some more to say at a later date about where those children are going to live if both parents are facing felonies. So it'll be pretty serious. But nobody got hurt and nobody got shot, and just a couple of dopes from Danvers. They won't come to Woburn again, I guess. Mrs. Ahern gives me this list. I have to she has her way of interpreting what she sees and what we hear, what we talk about, and the way I do it too. So I have to kind of switch some things around a little bit. Okay. City Council, 4-year terms for mayor may be put to voters. No. That came up a couple of months ago. Changed the whole government, city council, everything. But now it's just the mayor. They say, let's just change the mayor to a 4-year term. First of all, I'd love to discuss it with anybody that wants to come in and discuss it. I'm sure Paul has a lot to say about it because he was part of the government. But I think it's something that should go around. I think it's probably too soon. I don't know if we could get enough information and have a discussion either here or in the high school, anywhere, City Hall, whatever, as far as the good points and the bad points about changing the length of the term, because, like somebody said in the paper, that you're on a constant, the mayor is on a constant re-election thing, you know what I mean? So he just gets elected. He works half of his half of the first year. He's working on somebody else's budget, which is not too good, but he has to do it anyway. And then he gets into a budget. The next thing you know, it's the next year, and he has to start running for re-election. So it has its bad points. But then on the other side of the coin, 4 years is a long term. And if you're having trouble, the mayor is having trouble, whether it's unions, money, taxes, or whatever, it takes a long time to be able to get him out of there, or let him stay longer. So I think it's something that has to be discussed pretty thoroughly. I say no vote. I don't want to vote for it. I don't want to vote for it. I voted for representative government. That's the kind of government we have. We have representative government. This is not a town where we go down and vote that this person's a witch, and then we all say all in favor, aye, we take her outside, burn her. That's how town government works. We don't operate like that. We have representative government. Where I live in Ward 2, and Dickie Gately's my alderman, and I watch what he does, and I'm satisfied with the way he operates. So as long as he wants to stay there, nobody wants to see him run against him. So I mean, I'll vote for him. As soon as somebody comes along and says I could do it better, or if he makes a mistake, then we'll dump him like they dump everybody else that comes along. That's because, and I say no to putting it on the ballot because we don't know enough. We don't know enough. The 9 members of the city council spend a lot of time in City Hall. Some even have newsprint letters they send out to people, you know. Or if they have an issue in the neighborhood, they'll go into the neighborhood and talk to the neighbors about what's going on as far as Board of Appeals. Somebody wants to put a front porch on, that kind of stuff. They know what's going on in City Hall. I don't. I have opinions because I watch the news, I read the paper, I read the patch, I do all this kind of stuff. So I get an idea what's going on, but they're the ones who know what's going on. So they're the ones who should lead the discussion relative to 4 years or not. So I think when Alderman Anderson made a suggestion that the city solicitor maybe draw up some kind of a piece of paper and then we could put it on the ballot in September, October, November, whenever the election is, and we could vote one way or the other. I don't think enough people know enough about it to do that, so I'd rather have the representative I voted for is in City Hall, let him vote for it, and I'll go with that. Unless he makes a mistake, and then I'll yell at him. Okay? License Commission. I'm not quite sure what was going on with the License Commission, but the license violation policy penalties are being reviewed. Liquor license violation policy penalties reviewed. So they have a whole list of, if you have a liquor license, there's a whole list of it's too big to read, but some of it's here, and I'm sure if you look at it, you educate yourself. I really didn't understand why it has to be reviewed, or maybe it's old and they're trying to get it up to date. Chief of police and there's a whole bunch of people involved. That, you know, if your license is suspended, you have to put a note on the door. You have to lock up all the refrigerators. You can't be doing this or that, I suppose, because somebody might cheat. But the thing that interested me here was the last paragraph. It says the proceeding guidelines shall not be construed to restrict in any manner the powers of the Commission to otherwise modify, suspend, or revoke any liquor license as a result of a licensee's failure to comply with the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Now that says to me, and I'm an old man and I really don't understand a lot of that stuff, is why do we even need it? All they have to do is go down there and say, they're in violation, get rid of their license, or suspend them 10 days. They don't have, why have first violation, second violation? So why have to go all through that? It says nothing in here can be construed. It will allow them to do what they want to do. So let them do what they want to do, and I'm sure it'll be fair, because the 3 people on there seem to be fair-minded people. But this, we're talking about government now. And government, this is a bureaucracy. And this may be a situation where this is the bureaucracy at its best. But keeps people busy. Let's see, license. Interviews begin for the principal at the Wyman School, and it's drawing much interest, which I would think it would, because I think it's probably a good job. Principal of an elementary school in the city of Woburn is a good job. I just had a thought though that people might say, well, why is the principal leaving, you know? Because I think the principal is there, I think has got another job in Wakefield. But if you were a professional administrator, and which a elementary school principal is, and has the responsibility for all those children and has the job to educate them, what's she looking at, or he? What are they looking at? They're looking at a new school. So therefore, the disruption in her employment for the next couple of years is going to be probably not worth the aggravation. So why don't I try and get another job in another town where it's pretty much stable, and if it's equal, I'll just continue to do a good job. In the meantime, the Herald Wyman situation gets straightened out. It takes a couple of years to build a school, get it finished, get the kids in there, and then you'll be getting a new principal there, and that principal can start off with a new school. So I think that's probably the best I can do as far as an excuse. But they're looking for a lot of people looking for the job, so that's a good thing. They'll be able to pick whoever they want. Ms. Gatta, let's take a look at the weather. Do I even want to see it? No, I don't want to see it. All right. Oh my God, could you believe that? I play golf over in Woburn Country Club, the famous Woburn Country Club, on Wednesday morning, once a week, with the old, what they call the old timers league. I don't know what they call it actually. The old guys league, it's just old guys. And we have a lot of fun there. There's a lot of good people there. It's probably about 100 guys. And unfortunately, when you belong to the Old Timers League, every year we lose a couple of old timers. Either they don't play, or they could become, you know, they pass away, or they're physically unable to play anymore. So it's tough like that. But we usually get a few new guys in, and it stays good. We have a few luncheons and competitions, different competitions. But this year, I think, I'm gonna just, this is a wild guess. I'm gonna say they've probably been open 7 weeks. I'm gonna guess that. Maybe 6. So we'll say 6 weeks. And it's rained 4 of them. I think I've only played twice. You know, I could be brave and go over there and play in the rain, but then that's another problem we have when you're old. You go over there and play in the rain, you catch a cold, you die. So I said, I'm not going to do that. So I'm hoping that maybe after this week, things will change. Or maybe the weathermen, they're not perfect anymore. So maybe it's going to rain, maybe it won't rain till noontime, we'll be finished. So we'll have to wait. We'll wait and see. But this crew we got doing the weather here, they got a Wednesday on their mind. This is, I think they just do that to aggravate. Somebody puts that little lightning thing on the car just so I could say, oh, it's gonna rain on Wednesday. But anyway, all right, thank you. So that's good. Not good, but what are you gonna do? The 30th Middlesex District Representative. He was in the news with his legislative update, keeping our cities and towns safe. That baloney has been cashed around 1,000 times, and that's another thing I want to do. It takes a minute now. I don't want to aggravate him too much. Keeping the cities and towns safe. Now, the major, this is legislation they're going to pass, or they just passed. An act to enhance community safety. Major provisions in the legislation include, now, see if you ever heard these before. If various crimes and disputes have to be reported to the immigration status, verified and confirmed. Requires all doing business with the state to be certified that their employees are all citizens. Requires that seeking family assistance, college grants, in-state tuition must provide proof of residency, Massachusetts or United States citizenship. Requires that all seeking state-subsidized housing provide proof of residency in Massachusetts, United States citizenship. Increases penalties for anyone who drives without a license or creates stronger penalties for those who provide a motor vehicle to someone unlicensed. Increased penalties for and establishes strong identification tactics for businesses in the Commonwealth who knowingly hire unauthorized workers. This stuff has been yacked about for years. This is United States government business. Now, I understand the government, they don't want to even touch it with a 10-foot pole. They don't want to do anything about immigrants. So they leave it to the state. Now the state comes along and they come up with all this stuff. If you get arrested and you drive a car without a license, you should be deported because you don't have a license. We get guys driving drunk 10, 15 times. They're in court. How many times have you been driving drunk so far, mister? Oh, 5 or 6. Okay, yeah. They're driving around, everybody's driving around without licenses. What happens to them? Nothing. Nothing. How can you be arrested 10 times for driving under the influence and nothing happens? So I say to all of this good, safe city business, the state, I don't care what they say. They say the government's an unfunded mandate, the government says you have to join this. I'll leave the safety of the city of Woburn to Chief Ferrillo, because I believe the young man has been a police officer here for a long time and he knows exactly what's going on. He knows the problems that the city has, and like the situation on Mayflower Road, they react very quickly to the situation. The guy was still in the house when they got there. So I'm not worried about the safety of the city. I'm worried about all of this stuff. It sounds like Mississippi. Mississippi, before you can vote, you have to have a driver's license. Well, what if you come from a different country, you don't know the language? Oh, well, that's too bad. You can't vote. So therefore, you lose your right to vote because you don't have a picture or you don't have some identification. This is all crap, just crap. My opinion. Just my opinion only. But when I see him and he comes in here, we'll discuss it a little bit further. I like to see what's going on with Mr. Gomez, Representative Gomez. He was appointed by the legislature to investigate what happened to the marijuana stores that the people voted for. But he must have went on vacation because there's never been a word about what he's been doing. And now this morning's Globe, the speaker says, we're going to have a nickel deposit on water bottles now. Right here. Put a nickel, another nickel right on there. Is that a tax? What do you call that? A tax that's going to cost more money. Unless the bottling company, let's see, this is Kraft, unless the bottling company is going to absorb the nickel. You believe that? No. So pretty soon when the speaker says he's interested in putting a nickel on all the water bottles, don't you worry about it. It'll be done. Now they could say, oh, no, we're going to discuss it and we're going to talk about it and we're going to do this and that. We're going to go around the state having meetings and do this and do that. No, because when the Speaker of the House of Representatives of Massachusetts legislature says, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. And until that changes, this Commonwealth is going to be the same as it is. So I've had enough of social welfare and getting people to don't apply for poor housing because you're not a citizen or proof of citizenship. Good grief. You gotta live somewhere. You gotta live under the bridge. But anyway, next case. Woburn Truck and Auto, little progress made on the plans in North Woburn. I don't know how that's going to go. They go back and forth. Leave to withdraw. He doesn't want to leave to withdraw. He's going to wait for another month. Yes, there's 6 votes for a special permit. Doesn't look like he has them, so I think he has to withdraw. I turn this thing around a little bit. I'm not sure exactly how to do it, but the alderman is stuck. He doesn't want it, so therefore it probably will not go. Because I think the situation is on the city council usually is, over the past few years in history, is if I represent Ward 2 or whatever ward, and the guy from Ward 6 is having a problem in his ward, and he says he doesn't want it, then I'm going to take his word for it. I'm going to go with him. Because, I mean, he has to deal with the people, the neighbors, and all the rest of it way up there, and I'm way down here. So I think he has the right to say he doesn't want it, and it should carry a lot of weight. Should carry a lot of weight. I don't know what some of the other aldermen feel about it, but I know that Alderman Concannon has been basically to every meeting that they've had so far, so he may have an opinion on what's going on there before it's through. Budget review is underway. City Council set to review school budget at $53.7 million. That doesn't take very long. That doesn't take very long at all, because they have a different way of reviewing things now. In the olden days, there'd be arguments over how many teachers you had in the school, and trying to change things around, and people bucking for position, and all kinds of things going on. Now it's pretty straightforward. The superintendents, the past few superintendents have been pretty articulate at keeping things right the way you can see. I think there's a lot of transparency in the school budget, and I think the city council members themselves probably talk to those people a lot during the year to make sure that things don't get too out of whack, because I think the only thing that really gets to hurting is the special education, and I think we're doing a pretty good job at that so far. And you never know what's going to happen. The budget passes, $53 million. A couple of young children come in, they need special education. You have to pay it, budget goes up. Nothing you can do about it. Thank you very much. So they'll start their budget deliberations pretty soon. As soon as they get through with the school, they'll start right in on the city budget. You know, they just go by who's getting most of the money, the fire department, the police department, public works. After that, it's, I don't know, library and things like that. Small departments, you know, because most of it, the money in that half of the budget is basically in those three departments: fire department, police department, and public works, and then the schools over there. And they've done a pretty good job of it. They've done very well over the past couple of years, getting through the budget. I think the alderman from Ward 7 has been the finance chairman for the past few years. So he's seen enough budgets over the past few years that, you know, there's nothing that's going to shock him or twist him around. The Woburn class of 14, which is this year, their yearbook receives national awards for one of the best 3 in New England. Now, I might have messed that up. I changed that sentence around a little bit, so I could be in trouble. But I think since we've been in the school, and I didn't pay any attention before, just to basically that the studio was entered into school, that the school yearbook, in the past, say, 5 or 6 years, they always win awards. I'm not exactly sure what the criteria is that you have to submit to win, but the people involved with the yearbook, and they have an office actually where the kids can go down there, and it's like a newspaper. They put all the stuff in, you know, the pictures, the athletics, the academics, then the pictures of the children themselves. The yearbook was dedicated to Ms. Connell, the head, I believe she's the head I was going to say probation officer. That's pretty close to what she is too. Guidance counselor. So that was nice. I thought that was nice. So the yearbook staff is another group of people that don't get a lot of recognition, only at this time of year when the yearbooks have come out and the kids are graduating. So they deserve a lot of credit for all the work they do. And I guess they do get recognized, so that's a good thing. If you read the Globe, the Parade magazine, and it's always in the back there somewhere. It used to be this big. The Parade magazine used to be as big as the paper. Now it's this big. It's like a comic book. It's like this big. But anyway, there's some interesting little tidbits of information in there. But on the cover, there was a little story about the Woburn Little League 75th anniversary and all this stuff, and a lot of other little leagues around the country, and it just gave a lot of history on Little League and how many people involved in it, and how many, just being involved in it. I mean, they have administrators involved. They have, you have umpires, managers, coaches, everything else. Never mind the players alone. So, in Woburn, we were fortunate. When Little League started, let's see, no, it couldn't have been 75 years of Woburn, but they built Forest Park State baseball field. And it was the best baseball field in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And George Verratti was recognized in Little League as a way up in the administration of Little League, down from, he used to go down to Connecticut and New Jersey, all these places. And I think he umpired a few games. But we had a few good, big tournament games here way back when. And the park is still a beautiful park. There used to be, when it first opened, there used to be a guy across the street. His name was Giffy Hammond. He was kind of a farmer. There weren't as many houses there as there are now. But he was kind of like a farmer. He worked at, I don't know, I knew him pretty good. But he used to go over there. He took care of the park for free. It was just like his hobby. He took care of it the first couple of years, and I did a beautiful job. The park, and like all the parks in the city of Woburn, the park department does a beautiful job in helping out the Little League and the girls softball and all those things now. So that's, Little League worked out very well. So that was pretty interesting. When I looked at it, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because that Parade magazine, as it said in the article, is distributed all over the United States. So therefore, people get to read something about what we're doing right. So that's good. West Woburn, no endorsement yet on proposal from Chambers. 2 additional residents joined in opposition. So let me say this about that place over there. I don't know when it was built, but the Edison was there for a while. And I don't know how many trucks went in and out of there a day when the Edison was there. But I know that then after they left, then the phone company went there. So then the trucks were going in and out of there with the phone company, And I don't remember any of those Edison trucks or telephone trucks running over any kids going to the Joyce Junior High School, or running them over on Saturday when they're going to a soccer game. I don't live near there. If I did live there, I probably would have come up with some kind of a crazy situation where I'd say, tear the building down and put an apartment house up there, instead of leaving it there and collecting the taxes on it. And it's only good for whatever they want to use it for. Like garage, you want to put paint cars there, fix cars there, or what is a garage? That's what the city of Woburn a couple of years ago was going to move there. Now people forget that. So I have a lot of feelings for the neighbors, but this isn't something that just popped up a couple of minutes ago. This has been going on. There's been big truck traffic there for a long time. And as an ex-Class 1 truck driver that rode up and down the East Coast, basically from Philadelphia to Boston, in my career as sitting in the big seat, I'll drive any truck that they make around the corner there. I don't know where this came up that you can't make a turn out of there onto Cambridge Road, or from Cambridge Road on. I mean, you can do it. It can be done. I'll do it. And I'm 77 years old. I'll do it. So that's not a good reason. The size of the truck, the road is wide, Cambridge Road is wide. There's always a break in the traffic. It can come down, you know, so getting a truck around the corner is no big deal. No big deal. In fact, when the Edison trucks or the telephone, whichever, I can't remember, you get one of the big trucks they used to use to put the boom up to the top of the telephone pole, and now they were going to replace the telephone pole. They towed the telephone pole on the back of the truck. Now that's as long as any truck that was ever going to go in and out of there delivering cars, in my opinion. So I think the arguments are not good. But there should be some resolution. If Mr. Chambers can't go there, then let's get rid of the building and have an open space. Maybe we can get another soccer field there or something, you know? Or maybe somebody in the neighborhood, or Mr. Seaver, Melanson, Mr. Gately, any of those guys might want to buy that piece of property and put more apartment houses there, because that's what's there now. So maybe, I don't know if that would help the neighborhood out at all, but it would help the situation. So I think you're just kicking the thing around and wasting a lot of people's time. All right, let me finish with, we just had a veterans, a dance for veterans over at the Legion, very successful, pictures in the paper, Mike Dever and Murray. I'm gonna get them in here in a couple of weeks, because they'll be starting to talk about, in August, they're gonna start talking about the August get-together at Library Park. Now we wanna make sure, because I think that's a wonderful event. I think that's a wonderful event. They had a little motorcycle ride last year. People came down, the music is good. Now it's a little bit more organized, and I think we can really develop that into a nice way to spend a beautiful August afternoon and evening with listen to some music, you know, have a glass of beer, a slice of pizza, and meet your friends. So that's about it. And as soon as I hear from my good friend and how many, he's not supposed to say how many signatures he got, then maybe he'll be back next week. Thanks a lot for watching. Next time.